Story 1. Not saying thank you or you're welcome for a simple kind gesture, like someone holding the door and so on. It literally takes 2 seconds and says a lot about you. Story 2. When you're pulling up to a stop sign and the person who is already at the stop sign starts waving you on like crazy before you are even fully at the stop sign. Like, chill man, I haven't even got to the stop sign yet, let alone actually stop. Just follow the rules of the road and go when it's your turn. Story 3. When everyone in the front line of traffic is going the same speed and they hold up everyone, it just amazes me how people cannot look back in their mirror once and make a decision based on what they see. Story 4. Rev their ridiculously loud engines on quiet streets or outside public places like restaurants with patios. That sends me into a rage like no other. Story 5. Wastefulness, whether it involves food, throwing away perfectly good items, or spending frivolously, is a topic close to my heart. I was raised in a low-income home where we ate leftovers frequently and never took more food than we could eat. If we didn't want an item, it was donated or given away, never trashed. We didn't buy cheap toys at the dollar store or indulge in candy often. It just wasn't in the budget, and it made more sense to save for a rainy day. Story 6. I'm so obsessive-compulsive disorder. My obsessive-compulsive disorder doesn't let me do this. People treating it as a quirk instead of a heavily debilitating mental illness annoys me. That nonsense destroys your mental health. I wish more people knew just how bad actual obsessive-compulsive disorder can get before saying this kind of nonsense. Story 7. When they walk into a room and stop right in the doorway, forcing me to either slip by, risking getting hit the moment they decide to move again, or forcing me to say, "Excuse me," as if I'm being rude. Story 8. Snoring. I know they can't help it, but good God, every time I hear someone snoring, I get sent into a rage. A silent rage. I'm not going to disturb anybody's sleep, but still. Story 9. When people say, "That's for girls," to my son about the most ridiculous things. Recent example. He pulled one of those diamond-shaped candy rings from a claw machine, and my in-laws at the table said, "Isn't a ring for girls?" As if not every man at that table was married and had their wedding ring on. Story 10. When people say we speak Gaelic when we actually say we speak Irish in Ireland, I know it's not technically incorrect, it just doesn't fit the ear. We did Irish class and took Irish exams. But we play Gaelic football, so I'm unsure why it's so irritating. Story 11. When I am shopping and the people in front of me decide to walk out of the aisle, right in front of me, and then walk super slowly. Like I have things to do. Story 12. Skip the queue at a highway exit to cut in at the last moment. Not only are their actions increasing the queue, they are also violating the rules of the road and making a dangerous situation for all. The selfish as well. Why should they not have to wait like everyone else? It really grinds my gears. Story 13. 1. People who are rude to servers or anyone else handling my food. Like when people speak in a massively condescending voice to the drive-thru workers or when they blame the server for things that aren't their fault. 2. People who throw around the word phobic for everything. No, not everything is a phobia. 3. People who get irrationally angry when the wrong pronoun is used, but either you just met them or they have never asked or told you to use an alternative pronoun. Example. This new person started at my job, we're talking only been there a day or two, and was wearing a really beautiful dress, and someone else told me, "I like their dress," and the person overheard and lost their mind yelling that their preferred pronouns are they / them and that my coworker should not have assumed their gender. Then the person made a complaint to HR for sexual harassment. All they had to say was, "My pronouns are they / them," and I know my coworker would have apologized and corrected it. It was the first time any of us interacted with them, and it was really off-putting. Story 14. When someone uses a microwave and pulls their food out before the timer goes off, the next person has to reset the microwave timer because the person before was too lazy to do so. I had a lot of time at work the other day to get angry about this in the break room. Haha. Story 15. When people are on the phone and all types of background noise are happening, it puzzles me. It makes me wonder, can't you wait until you get home to speak to me? I was not aware that people talk on their phones at work with the wind blowing so loudly and even while they're bustling about in the store. Yet, they lose patience when I constantly ask, Of course, it's because you're doing 50 things at once in the background and still expect me to hear you clearly. Story 16. People in a group who walk towards you and make no effort to shrink in or go behind one another often end up making me have to go on the road or squeeze past them. It is so irritating. One day, I think I will just barge through them. Story 17. Irrationally? Knocking on doors too loudly and for too long. I guess many people would find that annoying, but it's hard to make me that angry with anything else. There's something about the lack of patience with continued knocking that just annoys me like nothing else. Even if I hear it on TV shows or movies, I will skip the exaggerated knocking they do if I have the remote in hand because it's unbearable. Story 18. When people who shouldn't be giving me the right of way do it anyway. Yesterday, I made a left turn in America into a driveway, not at an intersection. This dude in oncoming traffic stopped to let me turn. I cringed so hard as the person in the car behind them honked and almost ran into the person stopping to let me make my left turn. This isn't how traffic is supposed to flow. Your self-gratifying courtesy is not an excuse to endanger people and break traffic laws. You're not a good person for refusing your right of way. You're just obstructing traffic. Story 19. In the United States, at least, there are people who are afraid or even disdainful of ethnic foods. I simply don't want to go out to eat with someone who only eats chicken nuggets and fries well past the age of 6 years old. I think it says something about you as a person. I, of course, understand when people have dietary restrictions or sensory issues, anything of that sort. But you just know when someone simply can't fathom eating something from another culture because of something in their closed mind or heart. Story 20. People using their smartphones in social situations, I think it's rude, and taking pictures or videos of everything for content rather than experiencing life. Story 21. When I'm a pedestrian trying to cross the road without a zebra crossing or traffic lights, and a car stops prematurely to wave me to cross in front of them, I then have to check several times to make sure that it is safe and awkwardly run across the road in front of them. If they had just driven off, I could have crossed at my leisure without all the fussing around. I know they think they are being nice, but they are just making things awkward and wasting both our time. The vehicle has priority. Just go. It happens so often that I now just pretend to look at my phone, hang back from the road, or walk parallel to the road so it doesn't look like I am crossing until they are gone. It drives me crazy. Story 22. People chewing with their mouth open, people not having any concept for others around them. Whether it's driving on the road, parking in the left lane, or shopping at the grocery store, taking up an entire aisle, or not excusing yourself. Just others existing, really, because nowadays nobody cares about anyone but themselves, and it shows in every aspect of interactions outside of your home, and it's just annoying to me. Story 23. When I ask someone, "How are you?" and they say, "Fine, but don't ask me how I'm doing." It's definitely small, but it irritates me that they don't ask me back. Story 24. Using the word when instead of whenever in the discussion of a singular, timed, incident is more appropriate. Example, whenever my dad died, I was high on cocaine. Dad dying is a singular and timed event that happened in the past. Whenever implies more than one occurrence. The sentence should be, when my dad died, I was high on cocaine. Story 25. Tossing cigarette butts out of the car window as if they don't want to sully the inside of their vehicle with their own garbage. So they make it everyone else's problem. Story 26. English speakers in non-English speaking countries expect the world to revolve around them and still speak English when it's not the native language of the country they are in. It's not that hard to learn hello and thank you in the language of the country you are traveling to. Story 27. People chewing with their mouths open or smacking their food. Even hearing people crunch food while eating with their mouths closed, think chips, in a quiet room is like nails on a chalkboard to me, and I have to scramble to get some other sound on. And yes, at times, even my own chewing bothers me. Camping in the fast lane, including semi-trucks. Story 28. Particularly on a plane, when people wiggle their feet constantly or jiggle their leg up and down, it becomes an issue for me. The wiggling of the feet enters my peripheral vision to the point where it distracts me from anything else, and the jiggling of the leg causes annoying vibrations on the ground that I can feel. I swear I'm not autistic. I just wish people could sit still in public. Why is that so hard? Story 29. When people I am riding with have their windshield wipers going much faster than is necessary, I do not even fully understand it, but it really grinds my gears. Story 30. When you smile at a stranger in public and they ignore you or don't smile back. I've heard it's very American to just ignore people while out for walks. I understand not interacting with every single person, but if you make contact with someone, smile, and they give a dirty look back, it's rude. Story 31. Probably due to how I was raised or mental health issues, littering really bothers me. I give people the evil eye when I see it happening. If I am not occupying a room, I will keep the lights off. My partner will blow through and turn every light in the house on. This will give me an aneurysm one day, I'm sure of it. Story 32. People who stand too close to you in line at the store. My brain fizzes when this happens. For the love of peace, please don't touch me, stranger. Also, repeatedly pointing and tapping on something they're showing you. Ugh. Story 33. Standing right next to the luggage carousel while waiting for your bags at the airport. Simply standing back a little to allow others to grab their stuff would make me a lot less stabby. Story 34. If you have a friendship with a cashier, don't hold the line up. Pay, pack, chat, and let me get my stuff done with. I like my favorite barista as much as the next person, but holding up a line is only benefiting yourself. Story 35. I'm sorry if I come across as overbearing in that case, but it really annoys me when a driver doesn't use their turn signal. You're on a roundabout, ready to go, and drivers exit right in front of you. You could have merged, but no, because the driver didn't indicate they were leaving. It's the same at a crossing, or even on a straight road when they slow down but don't signal they're about to turn, and you almost collide with them. I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but in France it happens all the time. So, it might not seem like much, but it does irritate me. Story 36. Make teacher appreciation gifts that are clearly made by the parent, with messages such as, "Thank you for teaching me," is not the best approach. They taught your child. It's better to either thank them for teaching your child or let your child make the gift themselves. Having someone else make an appreciation gift on your behalf teaches children that someone else will show gratitude and generosity for them, so they don't have to. Story 37. People with no sense of personal space, who stand on top of you in queues or at the bar when there's ample space, are quite bothersome. I usually deliberately take a step back and end up stepping on their foot or bumping into them to let them know they're awfully close. Story 38. Unless you're working in construction or moving furniture, please move out of the way of the sidewalk. If you need to find directions on your phone, it would seem like common sense to at least step aside. Yet, most of the time, people walk slowly while trying to read something.